Fine. Good afternoon, all. So today in VBA, we'll talk about events. Fine. So see, till now we have seen with the various aspects of the programming, taking from the variables,
Mhm.
programming constructs. Um, that is a looping constructs, the conditional
Right.
statement, all this time. How do we interact with Excel? We have seen. So today we'll see with the events. So generally, you know what is an event? We have seen with the procedures. We have seen with the functions. Fine.
Right.
Okay, procedures we used to call using a shortcut key, or we used to call with the help of clicking on an icon or something. Fine, like
Right.
it was a macro. And a function when you create, we used to call using a equal to sign in a cell. Is it?
Correct.
So in a
Correct.
cell, we say equal to. We call a function. We pass the parameters, so it performs some job. It returns an output. Whereas
Right.
procedures we used to call using a shortcut key or clicking some icon. Okay, we used to call. Fine.
Right. Right.
Now, when you call this, a block of code gets executed. The same way, event again is a block of code, but
Okay.
events are being called automatically. Okay, it is being
Okay.
called automatically whenever any action occurs. Okay, so what is the kind of actions? Okay, so here okay, the definition of the event says an event-driven programming can be triggered when you change the range, a cell. So that means we have a
Mm.
cell. Cell is nothing but a box in Excel, or a
Yeah.
range of cell manually. That means you change the content in that cell, or you move from one cell to another cell. Okay, or you modify the formatting of that particular
Right.
cell. Okay, I want to your warning telling that okay, this value is invalid. Okay, or I want to allow only a valid values to be allowed for the cell, or I want to restrict the user from entering a particular any data in that particular cell. So you want this particular things to be done, and I want this to be done whenever the user performs some action. I don't want it to be called automatic explicitly by the user. It has to be done
Okay.
automatically. Okay,
Mm.
so in that case we use this.
Mm.
Okay, change even may make things easier, but you can very quickly end up a page full of formatting. There are two types of events. So generally we have something called as a worksheet events, and we do also have workbook events. Worksheet events are nothing but it is within a worksheet. In a worksheet,
Okay.
what happens? We have the columns, we have the
Mm.
rows, okay, we have the cells. Now,
Right.
okay, I want some code to be executed when you modify the content in that particular any of those particular cells, rows, or columns. Fine.
Right.
Okay. Workbook. Workbook is what you do. Workbook is a file. You open a file. Okay. You
Mm.
close the file. You have multiple files. You switch toggle between the files. Okay. So one.
Right.
Okay. You know when you have multiple files, at any point of time, only one file will be active. Okay,
Correct.
so when a file gets activated, when a file gets deactivated, I want some code to be executed. That is where exactly we go to the workbook events. So we'll look into this particular event. So first we'll see some of the events with respect to worksheet, and then
Okay.
we'll see with some events respect to the workbook.
Workbook. Okay.
Okay. Worksheet events. Worksheet events are triggered when there is a change in a worksheet. That is, you're within a sheet, single sheet of a
Mm.
workbook. It is created by performing. Okay, how do we create a worksheet? Is we just see till now we used to write the code in the module.
Modules. Yeah.
Fine. So now we'll not write the code in the module, but we'll be writing the code for the sheet.
Okay.
Okay. Remember the previous sessions we were asking like why we cannot write the code for the sheet. I said I'll just be explaining in later. Yeah.
Mm.
So that is where it is. So we'll be writing the code for the individual sheet. Okay.
Okay.
So that is it is created by performing the right click on the sheet tab. You need to right click on this and choose the view code a window. Okay. User can select
Mm.
each one of these particular. That means we can write the code for the individual worksheet.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. So now how do we write this particular worksheet code? Yeah, we'll look into it.
Sure.
Let me open the Excel here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just opening an Excel file. Share. Okay, so now this is my new Excel file. So I want to write the code for this particular event. So that is when I just say in this particular cell, any cell when the user enters, I want to ensure that okay. First, we'll see how do we get into the code window and write the sheet level, worksheet level event codes.
Okay.
Okay, for doing that, so what is that we do is I just get into this particular what you say developer tab.
Developer. Okay.
I'll go to the Visual
Visual
Basic
Basics.
editor.
Yeah.
So
And
now
then.
the book what I have opened is workbook 1, is it?
Mm.
So which has this particular sheet one.
Sheet. Yeah.
I'll just double click or right click on this. It says view code. Fine,
Mm-hmm.
you can do, or you can just double click on that. Either the thing.
Right.
Okay, so you just double click on this or right click on the this or the view code. Both will work. So it just
Right.
opens this window. So now you can see see before I used to get this particular code window by including a module. Okay,
Right.
by
Yeah.
inserting a module. Now I have not inserted any module. When you look into it, I have not inserted any module. I have a
Correct.
worksheet over here,
Mm-hmm.
and I have, as soon as I double click on it, I got a code window. Fine.
Right.
So now
Yeah.
how do you write a code? So in the previous case, we used to create a procedures, sub and sub,
Sub
function and function
function.
and so on.
Yeah.
Fine. So now what happens is you want to write the code. So you can see here, I just drop down here. So you can see
Uh-huh.
here, we have those two pane. One is a general, another is a declaration. I'll just drop down the general and I'll just
Okay.
change this to worksheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then you can see by default, you got one event called as a worksheet selection change.
Selection.
Okay. So now in this particular, on your right hand side, you can
Mm-hmm.
see there is again one more drop down here. So when you look
Okay.
into this drop down, so we have many different events. These are
Right.
the events. So as I said, what
Okay.
is an event? Events are nothing but action. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
user
Mm-hmm.
performing some action, and a code which executes in response to an action is a event programming. Okay, so the
Okay.
events are like selection change. Selection change is what, in a worksheet we have a different cells. When I move
Mm-hmm.
from one cell to another cell, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have lost the focus here. This has got the focus. There is a
Right.
selection change has happened.
Right.
Okay, so we have something called as a change event. What is the change event? In the worksheet, you have some data here.
Mm-hmm.
Say I have some data, say 100. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'll do some changes. I say I'll make it to 10. So there is
Mm.
some changes. What is happening in that particular cell? The value has been
Yes.
changed.
Yes.
That time this event gets fired.
Okay.
Okay. So now we do also have something called as the activate. See, in a workbook, I can have multiple sheet.
Mm.
You focus from sheet 1 to sheet 2. When I move from sheet 1, say sheet 2. So what
Mm.
happens? Sheet 2 gets activated, but sheet 2 will get deactivated. So when I move, automatically this events will be fired. Okay. So let me
Okay.
see those things. Okay.
Mm.
So first is default is your selection change. Okay. We'll look into
Okay.
how exactly a selection change happens.
Okay.
So we have this particular worksheet selection change, and that is in your sheet 1.
Mm.
So if I get into this particular book 1, so I just keep it parallelly, both side by side. Yep. Okay. So let me write some code. Okay. Whenever
Mm.
when that means selection change will happen when the user changes from one cell to another cell.
Okay.
When he's changing, this event has been executed. Okay. So that
Mm.
means there is again a procedure starting with sub and end sub, but there is no task to be executed. So nothing is happening. So it is moving
Okay.
freely. So
Right.
now when it is moving, I just want to say like, you're moving from one seat to another. Let's just put a message box.
Mm.
Okay. So I just say um, change. Okay. Selection. Okay, I'm just writing the code here, telling message telling
Mm.
that okay, you have changed the selection. Fine.
Right.
Now I'm just doing this. So before,
Mm.
what I used to do is to call this, I used to have some shortcut key or some menu or something to
Correct.
do that. Now you can see my focus is on some cell D5.
Yes.
Now I just click on some other cell. So what happens? My
Oh.
selection is changing from D5 to F5. Okay. So
Okay.
whenever the selection changes, automatically this particular
Message box will.
code is been called.
Uh-huh.
Since the
Right.
code is been called, this particular, okay, in that I'm trying to display a message box which has been invoked. Before, you remember, I used to place one kind of a button and we used to invoke.
Yes.
Okay, now nothing, just can be directly invoked like this. Okay, it has been called automatically whenever you move from one cell to another cell.
Right.
Okay, so this is like, see, user is, I want to check when the user is moving from one cell to another cell, if it is
Mm.
left blank and then moved.
Mm.
So I want to say, no, please see, you cannot move like this. You need to enter the data and only then you can go. I want to apply those kind of validation.
Mm.
So in that
Mm.
case, what I do is, see, in this particular thing, okay, worksheet selection change, it is taking one input. Okay, so what is the input it is taking? Input is a variable of type range. So what is range refers to? You have seen with the range in Excel VBA. So range
Yeah.
refers to a cell.
Cell, correct. Yeah.
It can be a cell or as a range of cell. Fine, it
Yes.
refers to that. So
Yeah.
now the target is a variable of type. So now variable of type range. Now I want to check if the user is moving from one cell to another cell without entering
Entering any.
any data. Then I
Hmm.
want to give a message. So what
Right.
I'll do is I'll just use input if
Hmm.
target dot value
Hmm.
is equal to null. If there is no
Hmm.
value in that, I
Hmm.
say then I want a message to be
Uh,
displayed like this. Okay,
correct.
let us do this thing now. When I move, oh, thing fine. If I
Hmm.
is having something and then move, okay. Selection. What is happening is it is taking the new target. Okay.
Okay.
See, like if I move to a cell which is having the data, it is not throwing an error. But if I move to
Oh,
a cell
correct, correct,
not
correct,
having a
correct,
data, it
correct.
is throwing an error.
Uh-huh.
So that means if the target cell is empty and you're clicking on that, so I want to say, okay, it is an empty cell, you need to enter the data. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
just trying to, okay, so that means at the end of the day, what is happening is, so it is trying to, that means this code is being called automatically
Hmm.
whenever you do some changes. Okay,
Right, right.
the same way, like say example, when the user is doing some changes, I want
Hmm.
some code to be executed. So
Hmm.
what I do is I just go here. So it was selection change. I'll just
Correct.
change this to change event. Okay, I'm
Okay.
selecting a new event. So what I
Hmm.
do is I select here. I'll just
Hmm.
select on this particular change event.
Change.
When I go to this particular change event, so what happens? We have this worksheet underscore change is the event.
Correct.
Okay, sub and end sub is a procedure, and
Hmm.
you can see it is also taking an input as a target.
Target.
Now
Hmm.
what happens? The change event will be fired
Hmm.
whenever you do some changes in that particular cell. You're editing
Okay.
some data. Okay, in that.
Hmm.
Okay, now it is general, any cell. I'm not with
Hmm.
any specific cell. So now what happens is you're in any cell. Okay,
Right.
let me comment this.
Hmm.
Okay, so that yeah, let it not keep triggering it whenever
Yeah.
the selection change happens. When I have commented this, so the
Hmm.
trigger, the event is, since the event is there, it is triggered, but there is no code executed on that.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so what I want in this particular thing is worksheet change. So that means
Hmm.
when you change the cell data in this.
Hmm.
So if I do any changes,
Hmm.
okay. See what happens whenever you change,
Hmm.
the code will be executed. Right now, I have not written any code.
Right. Right.
Just let me put a message box here.
Yeah.
Okay, I say MSG box.
Hmm.
You're changing the data. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you're changing the content. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
written that. Okay, you're changing the content. So now what
Hmm.
happens is I just click on any cell, and if I do any changes and
Hmm.
press enter, that means you're confirming that you're changing something. It says you're
Hmm.
changing the content. Fine. Now I click on the cell and I click out directly without changing any content. You can see the code is not executed.
Yeah.
Okay. When I go there, even I delete some content and then come, that means you have done some changes.
Uh,
So it says, oh, you're changing the content.
hmm.
So now I say some cells I have given some kind of a percentage, say tax percentage or something,
Correct.
but I don't want the user to edit on that. When
Hmm.
the user edits, immediately it prompts a message like this and say,
Hmm.
okay, it just comes out. So that means, like you see, I do some changes here. I just click somewhere else. Okay, it
Hmm.
says you're changing the content. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
And then
Yeah.
what is happening? The focus is coming out in the some other cell, so it is going away. So I
Hmm.
say I don't want to go out like this. So in that case,
Okay.
what I will do, I just put another code here. Okay,
Hmm.
I just say target is the input range, which cell you're changing,
Correct.
the input parameter here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just say target dot select. So that means select the same cell. Don't go out. So that
Okay.
means if I select this, and if I do any changes here, I press enter. You can see it says, see the cursor has gone down, and it prompts a message telling that you are changing the content. And
Yeah.
when I say OK, so you can see what happened. The cursor is back.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So this is something like, you want some code to be executed
Hmm.
automatically whenever any changes happens on
Hmm.
your worksheet
Yeah.
within a single worksheet.
Worksheet.
I have done this in the worksheet one.
Correct.
Now let me do one thing is let me add a new worksheet. See right now,
Sir, one
just when you
question is, yeah,
we have
this
only one.
target,
Yeah.
this target dot select, we don't have to mention the range again here, is it?
Yes.
Above there. No, not required.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So that is because see, these events are being created automatically. It is
Correct.
built-in events. It's given by the VBA itself. Okay.
Okay.
So now, see, right now we have only one sheet.
Mm.
Okay, and we can see in the code window also in this
The
book,
sheet
I
one.
just have only one sheet. Let
Correct.
me add some sheets. Okay,
Yeah.
I just add a sheet two. Now in the sheet two, you do some changes, press
Yeah.
enter, or you do any editing on that. So you can see now the code is not being executed. That is
Correct.
because I have not written any code for sheet two. It is written only on a sheet
Sheet
one.
one. Correct. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, say example. Now again, what is happening is, so you change the content in anywhere in this particular cell. Okay. It says you're changing the content. Now I
Correct.
say I want to allow in some places, but only in some part of the sheet I don't want to allow the changes to happen.
Hmm.
Okay. So what I will do is, okay, fine. I say in A1 I don't want the changes to happen. Okay.
Uh,
Now what I'll do is, I'll just write this code.
okay.
If uh, target dot address
Hmm.
okay is equal to
Hmm.
what is that cell name? I say
A.
dollar
Yeah.
a dollar one. I
Correct.
just give this thing.
Hmm.
Okay, then
We have to go by the R1.
I think we can do like this.
Okay.
Okay, if the target address is then this one is then so don't pass the message, then exits up, then don't do anything.
Hmm.
Okay, else so I'll just give this end over. Okay, so what
Hmm.
I've done here is, if the target address is equal to A1, that means only in
Hmm.
A1 cell, okay, then, okay, if the target address is that, exit.
Hmm.
If it is not, so you give this messages. So let us see
Okay.
what happens.
Yeah.
So now, if I do any changes here, try to come out, it is not throwing any message. But
Right.
any other cell, if you try to do changes, yeah, it says.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That means
Okay.
what I have done here is, so
Hmm.
like it'll be a situation like what happens, in some selected cells.
Correct.
Okay, I want to allow the user to do the changes. In some selected cells, I don't want to allow the user to do the changes. So we can
Correct.
specify those particular things, cells.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So the target address, we can also include a range, right? Not,
Yeah.
if not just a cell. Okay.
Yes. We can define the range. So only if the address is matching to that particular range,
Ah,
so then do this. If not, do this.
okay.
Okay. So
Got it. Yeah.
you got some idea like how
Yes. Yes.
exactly we use this particular change.
Yeah.
Okay. So generally what happens, this code will be executed automatically. That is one thing.
Yeah.
Second thing is we want to do some kind of a restrictions.
Hmm.
Okay, we use this.
So
See,
basically, here we don't need to protect the sheet or anything in that case.
see something like this. What happens?
Yeah.
You have an antivirus software.
Hmm.
Okay, when it does a job, so as soon as you connect a pen drive,
Hmm.
okay, if that pen drive data is detected with a virus, so
Hmm.
antivirus will immediately say, no, boss, there
Correct.
is some virus in this.
Correct.
Okay, you don't have to connect a pen drive, then right click, start scanning. No, it will automatically detect. Okay, it will play a role automatically.
Right.
So that is the kind of a job here also. So
Correct.
I
Correct.
want some things to be executed, not when the user invokes it. Okay, uh, automatically when based on certain rules.
Correct.
Yeah, I think. So that is what it is. Like all your system softwares, they have been fired automatically. When you connect a pen drive, it automatically detects that, oh, there is a pen drive in that.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
there is a
Yeah.
software which automatically says, okay, any device, printer is connected, pen drive is connected, or even a mic is connected. Okay, it
Correct.
automatically detects, okay, there
Yeah.
is a new device to connected. Automatically, a driver starts on that. So there's some codes gets executed. The
Yeah.
same way,
Yeah.
here also we are telling, okay, we want some code to be executed. So whenever, okay, a user performs some kind of actions. So where we
Let
are
there
not
be a
going to call this
notification.
particular code
Hmm.
explicitly, but
Hmm.
this code will be called implicitly. Fine?
Correct.
Chalo.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So that is about this particular event. So same
Events.
way, like say I'll make use of this particular event, say activate.
Hmm.
Okay. So activate event will be fired when see this is the activate event for the worksheet.
Right.
See, this is the activate event for the
Hmm.
worksheet.
Hmm.
Means what happens is I have this worksheet one, two, let me have some three.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
now if I'm in this, if I focus on this, what happens? The sheet one gets activation.
Hmm.
Sheet one gets activated. So that means whatever the code I write here.
Okay.
So right
Hmm.
now, this is for sheet one, is it? Right now, see, this is the worksheet activate event. This is a
Correct.
worksheet activate event for a sheet one. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since it is a sheet one, so that
Yeah.
means whenever a sheet one gets a focus, so you
Oh.
want some code to be executed, we can do
Hmm.
the job. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so I think so. Now let us do one thing. Is let us try to see how it works. Let us
Yeah.
just put a message box. Okay, I'll just say as message box. I say welcome
Hmm.
to sheet one. Fine. Um, I just say as
Yeah.
welcome to sheet one. Fine.
Yeah.
Cool. In this case, what happens? So when I go from this to this, you can see the code is not been called.
Hmm.
But when I focus on sheet one, then the sheet
Hmm.
gets one gets activated. It says, oh, welcome to sheet.
Hmm.
Fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that means the code is being fired. Okay, whenever a sheet gets activated. See, the same way I'll just put a
Hmm.
deactivate. Deactivate is what? When it is losing the focus. Okay, so now I just say message box. I just say bye from bye to sheet one. Huh?
Hmm.
Bye to sheet one. Huh?
Eat one. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. I just say bye to
Yeah.
sheet one. Cool. So now you can see when I try to go out of it, it says, oh, bye to sheet. Okay, but if I move between sheet 2 and sheet 3, nothing is happening because
Correct.
I need to explicitly write there. So when I get in focus into this, oh, it says welcome.
Right.
Okay, so now iski jagah pe I want to write a code like say example whenever I get the focus,
Hmm.
what to say, I want this particular column width to be increased, or it might be color of the cells has to be changed. Some task I
Hmm.
want this to be
Hmm.
executed, to be done. Fine. So what I will do, let me do one thing, simple thing.
Yeah.
Says I just want to change the background color of the selected range.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I do, as soon as it gets activated, I just say
Hmm.
range of G20, yeah?
G20. Hmm.
G20 dot interior
Interior. Yeah.
color is equal to baby blue.
Yeah.
Okay. I've written in the activate. See, when I
Right.
move, nothing is happening. When I go there,
Correct.
it's fine.
Hmm.
Bye. When I just focus here, welcome to sheet one. Yep.
Hmm. Okay.
Yep. Fine. So, but now I say when I go out, I don't want this color. That code I can just write it in this one. So as soon as you focus, it is
Hmm.
changing the color, or I want some specific task. Might be like
Yeah.
when you focus, I want this particular cells to get a new column width or something. So you can just
Hmm.
record, get the code, just paste that particular code over here.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
So what you can do is see if you don't know how do we change the width of the column and all these
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
So let me do one thing. Let me remove this. I just say home and I say remove this. Okay, fine.
Hmm.
Now I want to have this particular column width to be modified. So
Hmm.
I say I don't know how to write the code. So what I will do is, the best thing is, I'll just go to the developer. I'll go to the macro.
Macros. Yeah.
Just see, record a new macro. Is it record a new macro? I'll
Yeah.
just say for macro for changing the width. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I say
Yeah.
change width.
Hmm.
I just say okay. I don't need any shortcuts anything.
Hmm.
So now during this recording, what I want is, I just say I want the width to be increased. I want the height to be increased. Something
Hmm.
I want something like under this kind of appearance.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll stop this macro. So
Hmm.
you want to get the code of this? What I will do? Edit.
Sep- Edit. Yeah.
This is the code. See, I can even call this. I can keep the code there itself. I can keep the code there itself, and I can do one thing is, okay, whenever you get an activated, okay, fine, I'll
Hmm.
just come and put this. Let it be. Yeah. Okay, I'll just call this. Okay, this is calling a function, or calling this
Oh,
particular.
okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, I can do that.
So this macro is already recorded. We are just calling that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
are just
Okay.
calling. See, let us
Hmm.
just get back things on like this. Okay.
Hmm.
So now what I do is, I'll just go there, find buy. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you go, okay, the sheet is in a normal this one. But
Right.
as soon as I focus, let me do one thing is,
Hmm.
let me show a normal, and then I want to see
Hmm.
how exactly the changes are happening now. So
Yeah.
first the focus gets into that. So you'll get this message as welcome to sheet one. And
Hmm.
then you can see the column width and all this thing keeps changing. Okay.
Okay.
So as soon as I focus on this, so you can see right now it's in the
Yeah.
default, this one,
Yeah.
welcome to sheet one. As soon as I say okay, the next line of code is executed this. So where it is changing the width and height of the columns, as
Hmm.
well as it is changing the colors of this.
Correct.
Got it?
Okay.
See, that
Hmm.
means you can record a macro, and
Hmm.
you don't even have to paste. See, one
The
thing is, I
code.
can copy this code and paste it,
Hmm.
or you
Hmm.
can just call the name of this. Let it be in the
Hmm.
same place. So this, so when this code has been executed, this in term is calling the another function, like function calling
Okay.
another
Okay.
function.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So the purpose
Very
of
useful.
this
Hmm.
is, okay, you want some activities to be done immediately.
Hmm.
Okay. See, when the user clicks on the print,
Hmm.
okay, I want some settings to be done. The page settings has to be defined. So those
Hmm.
things I can just define it. Whenever the user gives the print command, so those things has to happen. So we can just do
Hmm.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the main objective of having this particular kind of a events.
Event. Hmm. Got
Uh,
it. Yeah.
so this was something to do with the worksheet level.
Hmm.
Okay. See, I have just done another code here. I can just show you. Um, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
So now take an example. I just have some data over here. Is it?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just enter some number. Fine. Say
Hmm.
100. Now I want to do some. I just want to have something like a calculator. No,
Hmm.
100 plus 20 plus 30 plus 50 plus 70. I just want to do addition. Say
Hmm.
100 plus 30. You can see what is happening. 130 plus 45. It says 175. I say plus
Oh.
30. See what
Hmm.
is happening. Generally, what happens is, when I hit enter some data and you press
Hmm.
enter, for cursor goes to the next this one,
Yeah.
next row. Here it
Yeah.
is not going. And the second
Yeah.
thing is, what is happening is, right now the current value is 509. Okay.
Hmm.
I enter something like say 12.
Yeah.
So now this 12 is also accepted.
Yeah.
509 also is been written somewhere. So then finally what happens?
Hmm.
It says 509 plus 12 is how much? 521.
21. Yeah.
Enter 521.
Oh. Hmm. So you're using I.
I'm using the change event. I just show you
Okay.
the code. So
Yeah.
here I'm trying to do multiple things.
Correct.
Okay. So we'll just see like how do we go before I
Sure.
go to the workbook event.
Hmm.
For doing this, let me get into the code of this one. So that is in the sheet one of this. Okay.
Okay.
So when you look into this particular program here, so I just say private sheet,
Hmm.
sub worksheet change event. So
Yeah.
that is on this particular, this
Yeah.
code is written for the sheet one, okay, of this particular workbook. Fine. Now here I
Hmm.
have just used some things here. If is empty of target is equal to true, then exit sub. That means if the cell is empty,
Oh, okay.
okay, and you
Uh,
move, it is not. It is when you press enter. If there is no data there, so you can see it is
then exit.
going ahead like
Hmm.
this. But if there
Yeah.
is some data, so then okay, and you have done some changes, okay,
Hmm.
it will just take this. Try to do the addition.
Okay.
So, okay, this code is empty of target. Target is the current cell where the active
Yeah.
cell is there. If it is empty is a built-in function. Try to find out if that cell is empty. If it's true, then I say exit sub. Exit sub
Yeah.
means just come out of this. Don't do
Correct.
anything. Don't
Yeah.
execute any of these things. So if you're moving this particular or whenever this event is fired, that means this event is fired. That is worksheet change event is it will be fired whenever you change it and content any of the cell.
It's any of the cells. Correct.
Okay, I think so. I think if you just press del and this press enter, we can see it is empty.
Correct.
See, when I press del, there is empty there. When you press
Yeah.
enter, it says I will not do anything since you have deleted that.
Correct.
Okay, that is
Correct.
what is this particular line of code doing.
Yeah.
Okay, without doing any this one. I say if
Hmm.
is numeric. So is numeric is a function says you have this target value. If the cell value is a numeric, is equal to false. Is equal to false means if it is non-numeric. What is non-numeric here? Non-numeric is if a cell contains the data like this. If I say 90, it is a number. If I
Correct.
say 90, this is not a number. So it says you
Correct.
enter non-numeric value. Or if I say something like this, space something. Here pure numbers are there, but there is a space.
Correct.
So this will also not be considered as pure number.
Number.
Okay.
Yeah.
You press enter, it says you have non-numeric values. So I'm trying to do this particular thing here.
Got it.
If the target cell is not numeric, then what has to be done? Okay. Then I say application dot enable event is false. Okay. So here I say so event will be fired automatically.
Yeah.
I'm explicitly telling that okay, enable event is false. That means disable the event for the temporary time. Okay, so otherwise there will be some kind of a circular event gets fired. So a change event is calling another change event. Which one? So because what I'm trying to do is if it is non-numeric, okay, is false. If it is false, and the sense if it is not a number.
Not a number. Yeah.
Is numeric true is going to be the other way around. So then okay, I say application dot enable event false. That means we are disabling the event temporarily.
Got it.
And
Okay.
I say application dot undo. So application dot undo means it will just go back one step behind.
Okay.
Control Z. Okay.
Okay.
So control Z is again when you say control Z, again it is going to modify the old changes, So control Z undo also application dot undo is equivalent to calling control Z. Control
Correct.
Z when you do again it is going to modify. So one changes is calling as circular changes. So for that I'm trying to say no, disable the events temporarily. Okay, so this code is going to disable the event, and then I'll just say undo. That means I'm just going to do undo, but this again will invoke this change event. But here we have disabled the event before doing this. Fine. Then I say application dot enable events true. Okay, after that I'm enabling it.
After that.
Yeah. So that is to avoid that circular reference.
Okay.
Now it says you entered a non-numeric values. Okay, so
That's
that
the
is a
message
message
box.
what is prompting. So what is happening here is if the user enters some non-numeric, if there is a space, that is what I showed you here. So if it contains some data like this kind of with a space, okay, there is with a space, so it says no. Or if I say something like I say some numbers and this one, it's non-numeric data, it says no. Okay, so we are trying to give a message till here. After giving the message, it says exit sub. So that means if we are entering a non-numeric data, it prompts this message and then exit sub. Exit sub is again just comes out of it.
So one question: the application dot undo will remove whatever data is there.
It will disable the undo is it will like undo. Undo is like rollback. See, you have written some data and you say control Z. What happens? It goes one step behind. See, one thing. So you have you have some data. Okay, let's say example I have written something. Okay, and then I just written something. When I say control Z, it just says old value. Then say control Z. Then say control Z. So that is what is actually happening here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. This is fine. The next thing is here we have the actual code now for doing this job. What I showed you now, say 90 plus 20, it says 110. Okay. Plus 25, it says 135. Plus 7 says 142. Plus 6 says 148. Okay, it is trying to. So now what is happening here is when we enter the new value, it is taking the new value, plus it
Correct.
has to retain that old value. It has to know, see, finally it has to show me as 156, is it?
Hmm. Hmm.
It has to show 156, it has to know what is the old value. Yeah.
Correct.
So somewhere I need to have a variable which will capture the old value before the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
148 in some place. The new value, what is there? It has to also be captured.
Hmm.
Finally, it has to do the sum of both, and then it has
Hmm.
to choose the result.
Result. Hmm.
That is what it is. So for
Yeah.
that, when you look into this code, I've just declared two variables.
Hmm.
One variable I have given the name as old val, another
Correct.
variable I have given the name as new
New
val.
val.
Okay,
Hmm.
as the name only says, this is for storing the old values.
Old
That
val.
means when you
Val. Hmm.
enter some new data, so I, before the old value goes out and new value comes in, that value
Hmm.
I want to capture into the old val, and the
Hmm.
new value what the user types in, I want to capture in the new val.
New.
Very simple. Fine.
Hmm.
So now I say new val is equal to target dot val. That means whatever the user enters the value.
Hmm.
Okay. So that means this worksheet event change event will be called. Okay,
Hmm.
when it calls, okay, by accepting whatever the data is received will be there in the variable target. Fine.
Hmm.
I'll just say target dot value. Whatever the new data was entered, I'm
Hmm.
capturing into this variable called as new val.
New val.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now I
Hmm.
want to get the old val.
Hmm.
So how will I get the old val? So target, okay, will be taking only the new value. If I want to
Correct.
get the old value, I need to say undo. I need to say undo.
Oh. Hmm.
So what I'm doing when I say undo, that will again create
Hmm.
a circular reference, because
Hmm.
undo again will call the change event. So temporarily
Hmm.
I'm disabling the event
Hmm.
and undo. So when I say undo, so 8, that means what was the actual before value, that will be there in the
Hmm.
cell. Now what is there in that cell, that value I'm
Hmm.
capturing into this variable old value.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then I say target dot value. So target
Hmm.
again in the same cell. I
Hmm.
say the old val plus new val. Sum of that and show in the same current cell. Then
Hmm.
this we have disabled the event. I'll enable the
Yes.
event after this. So that is how this is
Okay.
happening. So when I put here, so okay, so you can see
Hmm.
156 plus 8.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So now when you press enter, so you can see target dot value. Okay,
Hmm.
new value what is there, that is
Hmm.
received. So that
Yeah.
right now it is null. So you
Yeah.
can see now new val got the value as 8.
Hmm.
Okay. So now I'm temporarily disabling the event and I
Yeah.
say undo. You can see application dot
Yeah.
undo. What application
Yeah.
dot undo will do? Okay, it'll get, it
Oh.
will like just undo and say get old value. 156
Yeah.
was the old value.
Yeah.
That is there in my target cell.
Target.
That I'm
Hmm.
trying to push into this variable called as old val. So
Hmm.
old val got this 156. Now 156 is old val, new val is 8. So when you sum up this, it is going to be 164. Okay, so right
Yeah.
now when you see target is 164. Target dot value is again the same cell. So again we are enabling the event 164.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So all
But.
this, so here I
Hmm.
can say I'm not
Hmm.
invoking this at all. So as soon as I keep typing, this particular code is being called, and it is
Right.
ensuring that your focus is not going down. It is returning there itself, and
Hmm.
it is capturing the old value, new value. It is even checking for the empty cell. It is also checking for the numeric, non-numeric cells. If it is non-numeric, it is just
Hmm.
prompting the message. Okay. If it is empty, it just comes out. But if it is having some old number and the new number, it'll sum up and will just show the same value.
Sir, I'll just want to confirm
Yep.
when we do application dot undo, the
Yeah.
previous old value comes up, which we have assigned as old val,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And then that is getting added to the new val, which we have assigned.
No, that we
And
are
now,
capturing into the old val after undo.
oh, ha, ha, ha,
New value is directly
ha,
whatever the new data you have entered, I have captured.
correct,
Now I want
correct.
to know the old data. I say undo, and then whatever the data is there in that particular cell, that is going to be my old val.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
clear. So this is some example of your worksheet change, worksheet level events. That is what
Right.
I can do. Okay.
This
So
is
now,
object, no, sir?
mm, yes, yes,
Ep-
yes.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Worksheet level event. Worksheet.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now, okay, we'll see with the workbook events.
Okay.
So next is the workbook event. What is a
Hmm.
workbook? Workbook events are triggered when there is a change to the workbook on the whole. Okay, we can add the code for
Right.
workbook events by selecting. Okay, right. See, like
Hmm.
before we wrote the code for the sheet, individual
Correct.
sheet we need to write the code. So now we are going to write the code for the
Workbook.
So workbook. So just double click on that, you'll get a code window, or right click view code will get you the code window.
Mm.
Okay, fine. So we'll look into how to use a workbook events.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I close this. I close this. Sure. Let us take this particular same cell.
Mm.
Okay, that is the sheet what we created now.
Yeah.
So now I want to get into the code. I'll just go to the Visual Basic. Fine. I just got the code
Mm.
window. We have a project explorer. Fine. So we have written some code on the sheet one.
Sheet one.
Okay. See now also, like, I want to write some code, like example, I want to ensure that a cell will contain only a numeric values. Okay. So I say
Mm.
on the cell, I want to allow the user to enter numeric values. So what I do, I just say target dot cell. Uh,
Yeah.
so what do you see? I can call it in the change event. Whenever the user enters, this event will be called. So I can
Mm.
just say if target dot value say is equal to, see, I don't want the user to enter a null value and go.
Correct.
Okay. Or is numeric, we can do this.
Mm.
Okay. Um, or we can use this is numeric.
Yeah.
Is numeric of, okay, an expression that is a target dot value. If the target
Yeah.
dot value is numeric, true.
Mm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then accept. If it is false, so then I want to say user. Okay. If it is false, then I just want to say uh, you're allowed. You're supposed to enter only numbers. Fine.
Mm.
I can
Okay.
put a message box, MSG box.
Mm.
Only numbers allowed. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
So now if I try to run this particular code, so this is like you move from one cell to another cell, says enter only numbers. You can see I wrote
Mm.
some data, which was some alphabets.
Mm.
Okay. So if I write pure number, is
Mm.
fine. You can see it is going.
Mm.
If I
Mm.
write a numbers with a space and some number, it says not a enter only
Mm.
numbers. Okay. And I say the cursor should not go out. So I can just say target dot select back into the
Mm.
same cell. That means again ask the user to enter. So that means if the user enters with a space, says enter only numbers and
Mm.
focuses there. So unless and until you enter some valid numbers, it will not allow you to go. If I enter
Okay.
some number and say oh, you can see
Mm.
no, is not allowed. So enter some numbers, say 000, fine.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So this is some kind of applications that you can do in the worksheet level events. Clear?
Workbook.
Worksheet. Till now it is
Worksheet.
a work.
Okay.
Now we'll
Worksheet.
go to the
Okay.
work.
Okay.
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 So
Mm.
you want to go to the workbook. What we do is we get into this. So we have this workbook.
Ah.
Okay. Till now you work with, see, like, you know, right now we did in this one. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
All this in the
Okay.
worksheet.
Worksheet.
So
Mm.
do that worksheet. Fine.
Yeah.
So now we'll get into workbook. So I just double click on the workbook. I just double click on this particular workbook.
Yeah.
Again, I get this particular, what is it, the code window here.
Correct.
Okay. So I get this particular code window. So where I just be working on this. So here
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I just select the workbook. And the same way, like, you know, there we got that default event was selection change. Here we have a default event is workbook open. So this will be whenever this particular workbook gets opened. Okay, I
Okay.
want some task to be executed. So
Mm-hmm.
this particular set of code can be written in this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just have something like, say, new sheet. So whenever the user adds a new sheet, I want some task to be executed. Say you're not
Mm-hmm.
allowed to enter a new worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sheet has to be deleted. So we can
Yeah.
do a particular task. Or whenever a new worksheet has been added, so it's
Mm.
sheet one, that instead of that sheet one, So I want to rename to a different sheet with a date or something. You can do that particular thing. All
Okay.
these things. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe say message box. Okay, I just give a message just to check, whether the
Right.
event is fired. I just say new sheet
Hmm.
is added. So let us do that. So
Yeah.
now let me run this particular code. Fine. So whenever I add a sheet, you can see, oh, new sheet has been
Hmm.
added. Focus on that. Okay. So when a new sheet is
Got
been
it.
added, I just want to say active sheet dot name is equal to time function. Yep. Now when I try to run this particular thing, so how do
Hmm.
we run this? So this will be called whenever you add a new worksheet.
Yeah.
Whenever you add a new worksheet, it says new worksheet has been added.
Correct.
And okay, I just need to use a format and things. Okay. Format time expression to what? So it just says hours, minutes, say seconds. Should be fine. Yep. Is a function or date. We'll just use a date. Okay, I think fine. April 2012.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be 4 Ys. Fine.
Yeah.
So now when I add, it says new sheet. It says the
Oh.
fine. So that means, okay, this code gets executed when a sheet gets
Hmm.
added, when a sheet gets deleted. Okay, when a workbook has been added, when new workbook
Hmm.
has been added to the code, when a sheet gets activated, you want some code to be executed.
Hmm.
So this kind of a task can be given in this one. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So now workbook open is when you open the workbook.
Hmm.
Okay, I just say, okay, let me
Hmm.
save this book first.
Okay.
So I'll just put on my desktop. Um, so I just say it's 11 April. Okay, I'll just save this name.
Yeah.
So I want to save with the macros. Otherwise, macro will be disabled.
Yeah.
Macro enable workbook. Save it. Okay. So now I'll just close this.
Yeah.
Close this workbook also. And things. Fine. So let
It's
me
more
go.
like a template if we save it like that, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, with the code it gets saved. There
Correct.
is a
Okay.
code behind, no, for that. So
Yeah.
we want
Yeah.
that to be saved with the code.
Yeah.
So now what is the name of that book? 11th April. Fine.
Yeah.
When I double click on this, you can see it opens the workbook, but as soon
Hmm.
as it opens, when the it says
Yeah.
welcome, okay, the code is being executed.
Execute. Okay.
Okay, one example of using this particular workbook event. See
Hmm.
what I have done here in this one. So I say workbook before print. Means here we have an event called as before print.
Hmm.
Okay, we do also have an event called as a before print. So
Right.
that means this event will be fired whenever you give a print command. When I say Control P on the workbook,
Hmm.
so the workbook has to be printed before printing.
Correct.
So I just want to hide some sensitive data from the printing.
Hmm.
See, like in the file, I have some sensitive data. Might be
Yeah.
some codes. Say, like
Correct.
example, software ka codes jo hota hai na,
Hmm.
25 digits ka, there will be some codes. So I
Hmm.
want people to view it, but I don't want anybody to take a printout of this. Okay.
Okay.
So in that case, how do we hide this content from the printing? So that means
Hmm.
it will be displayed on your Excel sheet, but when you try to print on the printing sheet, it should not print, or even in the print preview, it should not display, and it should not
Okay.
print on your paper.
Right.
Okay, so how do we do that? Let us see whether it is working. How? Okay, I
Mm.
just have some data here.
Mhm.
Okay, and B2 to B12, is it something like this? Okay, I see here I have some kind of a sensitive data. So let
Mm.
me have some random. Um, there and between. mm, I just wanted some random number.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have some random numbers here. So now what I want is,
Mm.
so I say this particular codes are some kind of important codes. Okay, so I don't want this particular codes to be printed. I don't want this particular numbers to be printed. It
Mm.
has to hide from the printers. Okay,
Right.
but it should be visible on your Excel sheet. So how do we do
Mm.
this particular thing? If I have to do this particular thing, so what is that? Let me take a printout of this. I'll
Yeah.
just go to the file.
Yeah.
I'll just say print.
Mm.
When I click on this print, so you can see it is visible.
Correct.
I say print. B is data is, yeah, B data
B.
is being hidden. These numbers, sorry, on the column C, no. So let me see. So that is C. Okay. Let me take a printout of this.
Yeah.
I say print. So I just hit on the print. So you can see here what is happening.
Mm.
I have the other cells data,
Correct.
A data, B data, and this data. But this particular data, what was there? Numbers.
Mm.
Okay. So you can see that numbers are being hidden. Can you see
Yeah.
the numbers? No.
No, it's not there. Yeah.
Okay. Like software codes, they give
Mm.
that 25 digits number.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, they give you that particular 25 digits, but they say it should not be misused. Okay, so you
Mm.
view most of the things, in the websites they show you the numbers, but they say don't allow you to copy that. You need to
Mm.
see and type and all this thing. So like some kind of this one is there. So I just say I find this is the codes are there. Let them view it, but let them not
Mm.
misuse. Let them not take the printout of that
Correct.
and reuse it somewhere else. So I want to do that. Okay, so that is some this particular things I'm just hiding from the point
Mm.
view. So now how do we hide this data? Okay. See, if you want to hide any data in Excel,
Mm.
so we have a thing here, a format called as colon. Okay. So we
Yeah.
have this particular format of this one that is like, so if you want to hide this particular number, so how do we hide it? Okay. See any data. So you have some data over here, but I don't want this data to be visible.
Mm.
Data should be there, but data should not be visible. So for that in Excel, what happens? No, we have this particular formatting. Okay. So I just go to the more formats. In the format, I'll go to the custom and we have a specific format here like colon, semicolon. If I give 3
Mm.
times colon and you can see, okay, that means you can see on in this particular cell, there is data.
Yeah.
Data is there in this cell. Okay. But data is not visible. This is the inbuilt feature of Excel. Like you want some data to be there, but you don't want to show it. Okay. To hide that particular data, we use this particular format here as 3 colons.
Semicolon 3.
Yeah, 3
Colon 3
semicolons.
times. Yeah.
3
I
semicolons.
didn't know this, sir.
Huh?
I didn't know this.
Okay, okay. This is there. This is the built-in.
Is
It's
it
just
like
a format.
is it changing the font color or something, or how? Like,
No, no, it will not be displayed. That is a type of format. It says it will not display,
okay,
irrespective of whatever
okay,
the data it is, numbers, characters, special characters, any this one. Say I want to hide this whole data. I'll just select
yeah,
this. I'll just go to the format. I say number format,
hmm,
and I'll just go to the custom, and I just say here as semicolon.
yeah,
And I hit this 3 semicolon,
hmm,
and you can see this is gone.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
So I just say no, get it back into general. Sure.
yeah,
Now, this I want this but the same thing to be done when the user gives the print command. Normally, it
okay,
should be there when he gives it in the print.
yeah,
So what I have done here is I've used this particular command here called
hmm,
as a workbook before print command. Okay.
okay,
So we are
hmm,
telling if active sheet dot name is not equal to 3. That means here you can see when I give it for the codes, okay, workbook is for the whole workbook.
hmm,
But I say no, this kind of features to be implemented only on this particular sheet which has a some kind of sensitive data which I don't
hmm,
want to be visible at the printing.
hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
so I have said active sheet dot name not equal to 3, then exit sub. That means if you're trying to do a print command in other than sheet 3, do the normal printing.
got
Okay,
it, hmm,
exit means, so it says exit sub means okay, just come out of this, don't do anything.
right, yeah,
Okay, so if
yeah,
it is the printing happens in any other sheet, I don't want this to be done.
hmm,
Fine. Now I say application.enable events false. We are disabling the events again temporarily here. Okay.
hmm,
So thing, and then you can see range of this data C2 to C12. This is my range of data
hmm,
dot number format. Okay, is equal to this one. So that means for this range
okay,
of data, I'm changing the format to equal. This is going
got
to
it,
hide your actual data.
hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
and then when the user calls this the print command, so
hmm,
it will hide, it will format this particular C2 to C12 data in this particular format. So this is
right,
we are hiding the data, and then it will invoke the print preview command.
okay, hmm, hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
then I say again this particular number format. Okay, after the printers, when the user comes out of it,
hmm,
so
hmm,
change the
hmm,
format to general normal format.
okay,
And
okay,
we had
okay,
disabled
okay,
this particular event. I'm
hmm,
enabling the event to avoid the circular reference to happen.
okay,
Oh, that's it. Yep.
got it, yeah.
So this is a kind of a workbook event. So this can
Sir,
be, yeah.
after if active sheet dot name exit sub, that one you have mentioned cancel equals to true.
Yeah.
That one is
Not required. You can just even
okay. Okay, without that it'll work. Okay,
cancel is Boolean variable. That's it.
okay, okay.
That's it. So when you take a printout of this, I'll just say
Yeah,
file, print. So you can see it is visible here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So right now it is visibility is there. The numbers, the codes are visible. Is visible. Okay.
Hmm,
But when I
hmm,
hit on the print, so it will take me to the print preview. We have told here
yeah,
active sheet dot print preview.
yeah,
It will take me to the print preview, and you can see in the print preview we don't have that
yeah,
magic ghost. Okay, and
yeah.
then if I just say cancel,
It's very
again you
important
have that
feature.
comes
Hmm,
back to the normal this one. Okay, so fine.
yeah,
So this
okay.
kind of,
Hmm,
see, I'm not calling this. I'm just trying to call the print, but print in term is calling this particular job. This here,
right.
that code. Okay, fine.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is about your events. So generally events are what is nothing but again is a subroutine itself, just
Hmm,
like a procedures. Sorry,
yeah.
sub like a sub procedures or macros, but those
Hmm,
macros are being called explicitly by the users, but the events are being called automatically whenever the user performs some actions. Either he moves in a cell, or he changes the
hmm,
data in that cell, or he moves between a worksheet or workbooks.
hmm,
Okay, or he takes a print or any activities. So this particular in response to that the code gets executed. I just told an example like
hmm,
antivirus software. So when
yeah.
it is installed into your machine, it is running in the background, it is
Hmm,
sleeping there in the background, nothing.
hmm,
But whenever any new device gets connected, it is the job of him to go and check that device. Okay, if there is
yeah.
no virus, okay, it says it just keeps quiet. If there is,
Hmm,
okay, comes out and says no, there is something,
hmm,
quarantine karna hai.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that is a similar kind of example here. So this is some of the examples we have seen. in the
Yeah.
worksheet event. And that is like, how change event, and how do we restrict a cell with only numeric values, or only
Hmm.
non-numeric values should be allowed, a particular cell to be allowed, particular cell to be not allowed for editing, can be done
Hmm.
in the worksheet change events. Fine. So
Got
workbook, like this kind of things, before you save this particular workbook, you want to perform some checks before
it.
you
Hmm.
take a printout, so you want some tasks to be done. So those
Hmm.
kind of things can be done, so in the workbook events. Okay. So
Got
we also saw, like, some kind of procedure can be written, a macro can be written, and that macro called be called in the
it.
event.
Yeah.
So you're not explicitly based on that event, that macro gets executed.
Great.
Okay. So this is about your events.
Events.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll stop here.
Yeah. Sure.